Good morning, fire cats. I hope you're all doing really well today. Happy waking up, maybe if it's early. Stretch out some of that sleep. I've just made myself my lovely chai to warm me up and get me ready. So I hope you're enjoying your morning so far. Today, my lovely fire cats, representing right now, I would like to share with you some more little herbal tips, and if we get a chance, some like other kinds of self-care things to do during our forced retreat that the whole world is doing right now. And the first thing is, you may know this, actually, if you've been to Eden Village as a camper, you may well have done this in the apothecary, and which in the summer is probably the least useful time to make this. Well, good for preparation for winter, I guess, because it's so spicy. But this stuff, fire cider. Yeah, so fire cider, if you don't already know what it is a kind of vinegar preparation. So maybe if I take off this label, you can see inside. There. This is an old coffee jar with actually the recycled coffee label. Full with herbs and spices, and over the top of that I just poured some vinegar. Why would I do this? This is a very traditional recipe. It's been used for a long time. It's actually more of a new world thing. Yeah, it's more of an American thing. We love fire cider. We do love fire cider. It is actually amazing. It tastes so good. I don't know how to do it on the phone. I really wanted to have a sip and then have the that filter where your face turns into a dragon and fire comes out. That is fire cider. So why would we make some fire cider? Well, the vinegar. Oh, I didn't bring some in. Anyway, it's apple cider vinegar. Works as an extractor. It draws out all of the medicinal components of all the different ingredients inside there, so that when you dip a spoon in and take a spoonful, you're getting the full power of all the different things that you've put in there. So in and of themselves, each ingredient does amazing things, and then all together it's like super powerful. So, and in this time of like coming out of winter, it's like the season is about to change, or here it's already changing. It's a really, really important time to to do some, self-care to keep away viruses and bacteria, and especially now that there's this whole new thing going on right now. It's just a really, really good way of keeping your body healthy and safe from all manner of bacteria and viruses. How much does that work when mixed with heartburn? Oh, that's a really, really good point. So if you've got heartburn, I would probably recommend taking something else. But you could take it if you put some in water. Well, mix in some warm water, some bicarbonate of soda. Then put your fire cider, bloop, just like 1 teaspoon, so do like half a teaspoon of bicarbonate soda in the water, dissolve it. Then put 1 spoon of apple cider vinegar or fire cider in there, and that should neutralize the not only the acidity of this a little bit, but also that the heartburn that you've been experiencing will probably subside, and you still get all the benefit of all this. If that continues, then maybe do it in a time when you're not feeling the heartburn. Is there a recipe for fire cider? Yeah. So So there's loads of recipes actually. It's like it's very much a grandma kind of thing, you know. It's like whatever you've got lying around at home that happens to be really powerfully antiviral, antibacterial, and I'm going to go through some of those now. Just throw them in. Just throw them all in. So for example, one of the main ingredients in a lot of the recipes you find online, I couldn't find it, so I didn't put it in. But it doesn't matter. You put what you do have in, and that's your bar cider. So let's go through a little some different recipes. Right. Well, not different recipes, but like we'll just go through some of the ingredients that are in here. So I started. Maybe I'll peel this back again and we'll go through the layers. So a friend of mine the other day gifted me a load of fresh turmeric. So actually that was the first thing to go in there, because I was like, what do I do with all this turmeric? So I sliced them up and I put it in. So that's what's on the bottom there. Turmeric, which went into our lovely chai the other day. Which I'm drinking right now actually. Turmeric is really powerful antibacterial, antiviral, and it's very famous right now for being an anti-inflammatory. And so those antibacterial and antiviral properties are currently being extracted into my apple cider vinegar. The next ingredient, I don't know if you can really see it in there. What might be the next one? Let's have a look. Oh, there's a slice of lemon in there. So actually I put a half of a lemon and I sliced it into like 2 or 3 pieces. It might even be a whole lemon, I can't remember. I made this like a week ago. And I just put those in there. Then, what else have we got in there? Let's have a look. Oh, ginger. Oh, and the lemon goes with the peel. Lemon peel has some really, really important things in it. So I wanted that in there as well as the juice. So that's all in there. Then ginger, which we also put into the chai. Ginger is so amazing. Like, it's just, I really love it. And it has so many medicinal uses. Like, if you know how to use ginger, like in all its, you know, all the ways that you could possibly use ginger, you might end up using ginger for a lot of things, you know, and it's almost like a joke. It's so useful. So ginger is in there. The next thing, which also went into the chai, and by the way, this doesn't taste like chai. This tastes like super savory to me anyway. Is what we had the other day. These little flowers. Do you remember these? Whoops. These little ones. Oh, it's a bit hard to zoom in on it, I guess. My favorite way to use ginger. Well, these are cloves, by the way. These are cloves. So cloves went in there. Cloves, again, because of their amazing antibacterial, antimicrobial potency and good taste. So I put actually a fair amount there. There's some of them floating around towards the top. Maybe about, I don't know if you can see that. Is that visible? So my favorite way to use it, tea. And if anyone has ever eaten my food, half the things that I make probably have ginger in it. So when I'm preparing food, I often slice up some ginger and a little bit of garlic, and I'll put that in the oil of like what I'm going to cook with, just like a few seconds before the other things, so that the oil gets the flavor of it, and because the oil also absorbs some of the benefits. And then that oil that I'm cooking with, like say if I'm frying something, or even if I'm making something in a pot, like lentils, then it's just one of the ways that things get extracted is with oil, sometimes with water. So I'll flavor the oil first with some ginger and garlic, and then I'll put all the rest of my things in there, and it's really tasty. It's like my signature taste. I really like it, and people seem to like it. But mainly, it's actually things that I want to use for medicine, and they just happen to taste nice. So probably the most common way I take it is it's probably in food, but I also drink a lot of chai, and that has ginger in it. So it's maybe my favorite way of taking it without using it. Oh, in pumpkin pie, pumpkins, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And so that goes amazing with like 5 spice mix, which has clove and cinnamon and what's that really big round one? Anyway, I think it might be called 5 spice. But the 5 spice mix or 4 spice mix, I can't remember what it's called. In pumpkin pie, so good. And all those things are their medicines. Like each one of those ingredients, each one of those spices, is a medicine. So if you go to the herb and spice section of a supermarket, and that's literally like an apothecary. So what else have we got in here? I found some thyme. Whoa, thyme is on my side. Yes, it is. I said time is on my side. Thyme is this very humble, kind of small bushy plant, which just happens to be incredible. It's a very common herb, especially here in England. People will use it in a lot of cooking. Yes, we use those spices too. Yeah. So thyme, it's got these little tiny leaves, and it's very, very easy to find. There's a lot of places have them. It's a really, really common herb, and it just so happens that thyme is like basically when it's used for its antibacterial properties are immense. It's like you can get these wipes that have thyme oil on them, and it kills 99.9% of all bacteria. That's super powerful. That's like super duper powerful, and smells really nice, tastes really nice. And like what else could we want? Nature is so amazing. Nature provides a fun way to frozen banana smoothies. Oh, so you know what? I actually did that yesterday. I didn't think of that. So a nice sort of warm up cold things is totally to put some ginger in. So if you make some frozen banana ice cream, which is actually what I made the other day, frozen banana ice cream, throw some ginger in there, or the smoothies. If a smoothie, let's say for example you really like having your smoothie, and I love having smoothies. I might have one after this tea. Love smoothies, but I find them really cold. They're so cold, it makes you feel cold inside. So if it's going to be a frozen one, like let's say there's some ingredients that are already frozen, so I can't avoid having a frozen one, that it is going to be really freezing, I'll always put ginger in there, or some other warming spices like cinnamon, just to warm it up. Otherwise I find it personally a bit too cold. And in the winter, having a freezing drink and it's already cold outside, I think this is I don't like that at all. So I will put loads of ginger in there to really make it like, I even put sometimes a chili pepper in there, and that's no joke, and I actually really like it. But I'm not looking for flavor principally, even though the taste is good. I'm looking for the warming up the cold. So this is not necessarily a traditional ingredient in the fire cider, but I had loads of this lying around. I had a load of it. There was loads at the supermarket that was on sale, so I bought a load of it. I hung it up like this in my kitchen, and it dried. And then some of it I put into the fire cider fresh, and some is in there dry. And this is like supreme in terms of antimicrobial. Then, so did I already talk about lemon? Yeah, so there's some lemon in there. Okay, something that's amazing but isn't in the chai. Garlic. Garlic is so fabulous. All of these things are really warming as well. So somebody just a minute ago asked about like heartburn. So like if you're feeling hot inside, or there's some hot thing going on, like heartburn feels really burning and hot, hence the name. All these hot things are just going to make that feel hotter. So if you've got that if you're feeling like hot and dry, or like burning inside, these things are going to make you feel like more hot, more dry. Like this is warming and drying. So like do something like to cool, like to soothe your body. You know, something like eat something that's like slimy, like flax in a smoothie, or chia, or a banana or something that's like slimy and cold. That really helps like soothe. But when you're feeling cold and mucusy, or if the season is changing like it is now, here at least, these things are really good because of their antibacterial, antiviral properties. Ginger is like up there with garlic it's just so unbelievably useful, so useful. It's like one of the number one all-rounders. It's just that it is really hot again. Like if you've ever actually eaten a raw garlic, so you can actually burn your mouth. Like it's so hot and spicy. But you throw some in here. So I just peeled them, which there's like a trick doing that or rubbing it on the table. So I could peel loads of them in one go. I threw a load of them in there. I don't know if you can really appreciate it, but on the top of this loads, and some of them kind of went green from the thyme. They were like next to the thyme, so there's kind of this interesting process going on in there of like things sharing. You know, it's like there's the ginger ooze something out into the vinegar, and it sucks something in, like some of the chlorophyll from the thyme. It's pretty cool. It's been like pretty interesting to watch how this progresses every day. What else we got in there? One of my faves, and this as well, is so tasty. And again, actually, I found all of these quite recently in the supermarket. Loads of bags of fresh herbs, and nobody bought them, and so they were all on sale. So I bought loads of these herbs. So nice. And this, I don't know if you recognize it. You might have some growing near you somewhere. I definitely do try and pick some when I find it out and about. This is rosemary. Rosemary is another warming one. It's really good for circulation. It's usually, well, I'm going to eat some now. It's like a brain tonic. Helps your brain use oxygen better. And the oil, even if you just like, if I was just to grab this and like rub it in between my hands, like if I'm going to put it in some food, I'll crush it up first. That smell is so amazing and like wake you up it's not stimulant as such, but it does wake you up. So this is an amazing antimicrobial, antibacterial. This also is antimicrobial, and it has an amazing smell, and it's good for brain. It's also very warming. It helps circulation. This also helps circulation. All these warming things help circulation. Does anyone remember these things that have essential oils in them? Really fragrant plants. Does anyone remember what they're good for? Like one of the things that all the fragrant plants do? No quiz? Something about the tummy? Any answers there in the comments? All of them are really amazing for digestion. Every single one. They just have their own unique properties, but those essential oils help digestion. Right. Already talked about turmeric. Look at some of the leftover turmeric that I was given recently. Oh, and another really important one that's in there. L'oignon. The onion. Onion is an amazing herb. It's an amazing food as well. And there's some slices of this in there. Also, whatever jar you've got that you're going to put these things in, like if all these things don't fit, don't worry. Just put the things that do fit in there. Like, now that I think about it, I may not have put onion in this one. It might not have fitted in with all the other things. I think there's also some cinnamon in there somewhere. And there's some, I just happen to have some juniper berries, which is not the most common thing to have lying around. And that's not a traditional ingredient, and I just threw it in anyway. Again, you can really like put in whatever you want. I'm gonna just open this and have a little look. Ah, it doesn't want it. So let's see if you can you see that? So there is, okay, let's have I can flip this around. So, can you see this? Is that visible? So can you see how that garlic took on the green of from the thyme? It's pretty cool. It's been pretty interesting to watch this, like, over the days. Every day, it's good to shake it up. So whatever you've made, whatever recipe you've used, it's really good to shake it up. And when you're shaking it up, give it some intention. Like, it's good to put intention in the moment when you're making it. That's really like the seal on the envelope. That's like putting the wax seal on there. But every day, you know, give it a shake, turn it upside down, give it a shake. This is really why the shaking. Much like humans, when we're in a nice long soak in the bath, we get really relaxed. I'm just like, ah. Herbs, when you're making like a tincture like this, kind of do the same thing. And they don't share their properties as well, because they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna chill for a bit. So what we want to do is every day, wake them up a little bit, shake it up, and mix. So this way you get all the, you know, if you imagine, right, I've got pretty much like archaeological layers in here. So at the bottom it's mostly turmeric. So most of the turmeric, like juice that's getting like extracted, will be around the bottom. Then on each layer it's going to be similar with each of the herbs. So by mixing it up like this, it really, really helps the process. And while I'm doing that, because you should do it for like a minute, say. You don't have to. You could just do like 1, 2. But I like to do it for like about a minute. And while I'm doing it, while I'm shaking it up, thinking about about healing. Or I'll pray, like I might say, like Anna Elna, the Anna Elna prayer, like while I'm doing it, you know, or just be like imagining beautiful healing light coming from up above and blessing it. And then when I finally get around to taking it, you know, it's not just infused with literal herbs, which is the power of creation, which is like, that's the divine spark. We're taking in some of that divinity. It's also got like intention, kavanah, and kavanot are really important, like all our intentions. So this is like, you know, I'm reminding myself every day why I'm doing these things, why I like it, makes me feel good. And then when I take it, it's like I'm taking in again all those intentions along with the herbs. So when I put all those things in a jar, I didn't bring it through, but then you would just pour the apple cider vinegar over this. So because there's so many herbs in there, it's actually mostly filled with herbs, and then the apple cider vinegar just fills in the little gaps in between them. After a day, I noticed, because I did have some dry ingredients in here, after a day I did notice that the level went down a little bit, so I just topped it up. Do be careful and don't do what I did, which is to fill it too much, so that when the lid goes on, a little bit comes out, which is why this is all quite sticky right now. But yeah, that should do you good. And I think I've talked about all the ingredients. Okay, so we're nearly coming up to time. Right. So now we've done some apple cider vinegar. Oh, and then one more thing I didn't talk about. You can put it in, and this is one of the traditional ingredients, horseradish, which you might have lying around. It's one of the bitter herbs. Actually, it's coming up to the time when these are used. So horseradish, put as much in there as you like. Again, it's one of those very strong tasting things. But when it's all mixed in together, like this actually tastes pretty decent. Like when I have a spoon of it, I don't just automatically turn into the Snapchat dragon with fire coming out of my mouth. It's pretty, you know, it's actually pretty tasty, and it's not just like taking pure vinegar. Like it does taste like all the things, and you can even put in honey. Honey, again, I talked about it when we did the chai. So honey is a powerful, powerful antimicrobial. It also will help to sweeten things up a little bit in the fire cider. And it's got that like lining quality. You might not feel it so strongly because it's going to be kind of diluted. But anyway, that's all in there. If you've got any questions, please send in some comments. I'm going to have a little sip of my tasty chai that I made the other day. An ingredient that I didn't talk about with the chai, if you don't drink like caffeinated drinks, I have had very, very delicious chai made with a little bit of lemongrass instead of black tea. My goodness, really, really delicious, like full power. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and I hope that you are taking care of yourselves and making the most out of this really extraordinary opportunity that we have to be close to our family, or to be alone. If you're somewhere alone, to be with yourself. Do you dilute it with hot water when you drink it? No, I just take a spoon. I take a spoon. It's so good, honestly. I just take a spoon of it. You could dilute it if you want, but I find it's, to my taste, it's actually not that strong. It's so diluted, like it's so mixed in and so infused with all these things. Especially the fresh ingredients have water in them, and that water will be shared with the vinegar. So that's diluting the vinegar a little bit anyway. And then so some of the things I put in whole, some of the things I chopped up to you, doesn't really matter. It takes a few days for the thing to start, like, you know, really, really extracting. So what I've been doing is I left it for about a week without taking anything. And then I've been having a spoon like once a day for a few days. And then I laid off it a little bit. So I was doing like that, like 2 or 3 days I take a spoon, and then one day I didn't take a spoon, 2 days I didn't take a spoon. And I noticed the level was getting a little bit low. And in the very beginning, you can top it up. I wouldn't necessarily keep topping it up unless I was going to add more herbs. But it tastes pretty good, like it honestly does. If you find it very, very acidic, or you've got like a very sensitive tummy, or heartburn, or an ulcer or something, what you can do is, in a little bit of warm water, mix a little bit, like dissolve some, like a half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, otherwise known as baking powder, but not the baking powder that's like a big mix, just the bicarbonate, because it's really alkalizing, where it's really alkaline. Dissolve a little bit of that, and then get your spoon of this, put a spoon of that in, and that should help neutralize some of the acidity. And then so when you drink it, you still get all the benefit, but maybe not as much of that like acid feeling inside. And this has got so many qualities that you might just find your body enjoys it anyway. Like it really appreciates the good that you're doing it. So yeah, but that's it. If there's any more questions, write them now or forever hold your peace. But also I'll check later as well if there's any comments. I'll check later if you got any questions, so I could answer any queries. I also got out today this, it's actually from a book. It's a book it's got like these herb cards in it, and it's been pretty fun. So I picked one up for myself this morning, but if you all want to send some intention, like what would be a good plant to learn about today, to contemplate, to maybe find if you get to go out in nature. So what would be a good card for y'all to see today? Let's have a look. Wow, okay, this is a beautiful one. It says, and this is going to be my leaving note, it says red clover. red clover. Wow, red clover is a beautiful one. At the top it says center and ground. That's pretty cool. Center and ground. Red clover is an amazing plant. It grows all over the place. All over the place. The flower is kind of actually pink. There is a red one, but that's not red clover. But it's more like a pink color. And it looks like around this heart. Like around the heart, there's some. That's what they look like there. And it's a heart medicine. It's good for taking care of your heart. It's a blood medicine, hormone medicine. Oh, and it's a food. I can't remember. I think the book is called The Herbarium. I'll write the name where these come from. Yeah. And but these are really cool. Someone had one, and so I made some cards out of it. I don't have the book, but I have the cards. I really like the cards, and I just found them really fun. So maybe check out today some red clover, as well as making some fire cider. When you make something, right, another really important thing, label. Make a label. So for this one, because this was an old coffee jar, I literally just turned the label that was already there inside out. And then, so I've got a label already without putting a new one on. And I wrote what it is and when I made it. So this is really important, because if someone finds a random jar that looks like all weird, like just lying in some cupboard somewhere, you know, in 6 months' time, because you forgot about it, which does happen, you know, then you'll know what it is. Also, when you make these kind of things, don't put them away somewhere where you won't see them. Keep it out, because every day you need to give it a little jiggle. It needs its own bounce, like how I did a few days ago. Actually, that's like part of my self-care, is to bounce for like 10 minutes every day. And it needs to bounce. It needs to jiggle. So leave it somewhere where you'll see it. And then you'll not only shake it, but you'll also remember to take it. So, be well, fire cats. The magic cat of crazy light sends its blessings to all of you. And have a lovely, well, tomorrow is Shabbos. Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Peace, well-being, happiness to you all. And I'll see you again. Bye!